Thank you so much for turning up tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting in us delivering, me, being here and delivering Storyhouse. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and what Storyhouse is about. So my name's Yvette, and Yvette, for those of you in the room that haven't met me before, it's Yvette Pooliger. So I'm a coach, and I'm not going to go on about what kind of coaching I do. There's some information on the chair in terms of how I work as a coach. But the whole concept of Storyhouse came about for me because I'm petrified, shall I use the present tense and say I was petrified of standing here and speaking. And to be completely honest, it was a dream of mine, and it's been for 30 years to want to stand here. I've watched people at the front of a room and thought to myself, I really would like to be at the front and talk. I've got something to share. But to be completely honest with you as well as that, there's a part of me that says, well, it's okay being a coach and helping other people to step outside their comfort zone. I need to step outside mine. So I'm stepping outside mine, and that's me here tonight. Thank you. So I guess it would be a little bit apt to start with a little bit about my story. So I'm the youngest of 6 children, and 51, bless her. So yeah, youngest of 6 children, and my early childhood wasn't a particularly easy one, as I'm sure many of you in here had difficult journeys as well. But for me, I grew up in a family where there was autism, learning difficulties, and then I had a secret on top of that, which was my mother was illiterate. We later found out in her 80s that actually it wasn't illiteracy as much as it was dyslexia, it just went undiagnosed. But because she was ashamed of it, guess what? So was I. And it impacted me, it impacted my self-esteem, it impacted how I thought about myself and how I felt about myself. And I was desperate to, I suppose, change my life based on, my surroundings and where I grew up. I wasn't born in a family where there was any entrepreneurs or anybody particularly doing well. That unit was us 6 as children and my parents. And so that was it. And, but somewhere along the line at school, I got singled out and I was put into the top set, which actually threw me completely off guard. I didn't quite know what the hell was going on, because it's like, well, it was a complete conflict with how I felt about myself as an individual. So there I was at school being told that, here you are in the top set at school, but yet, how I felt about myself was I felt it was a mistake. So for years I just basically went through life feeling as though I was a fraud. To move that on for a little, move that up to more current day, I then went on to, this fraud still carried on through life. I basically went and opened up an award-winning shoe shop, and again, that came to that was a wonderful experience, but it came to a very sudden end. Life threw its challenges at me. My daughter, who's here in the room this evening, she's there, Jada. She got a life-threatening illness, which threw me off path in terms of where I was wanting to go and the trajectory for where I thought I really wanted to go in life, which was the shoe shop, just stopped. With that stop, I stopped and I felt stuck. And I was stuck for years, to be honest. I was stuck, but I was able to help other people. Does anybody ever relate to that? Yeah. So as a coach, I was helping other people, and I could watch them achieving their goals, and yet I couldn't seem to get to where I wanted to go. And I spent many a time with the coaching trying to find my difference. And it's been a long journey to here, to find that difference, because of my upbringing, etc. I realised something over a conversation with a beautiful lady, and we talked about how I'm a maverick. Basically, I do things differently. Even with the shoe shop, when I was doing that shoe shop, I got a consultant in, and she said to me, yes, but that's not going to work. And I said, I understand what you're saying, however, that's what I want to do. And that, going against the grain, because it was in my heart, because it was what I wanted to do, it actually became an award. As I said earlier, it was an award-winning shoe shop, as opposed to the Barretts that this consultant came out of. And that's the same thing with this evening. Storyhouse is for people who, like myself, have a dream to stand on stage and share a message, but for whatever reason, there's a block. And, in terms of how do you get over that block? What's the benefit of telling your own story? Well, I can only say that my mother passed away in March, and she was an amazing storyteller despite her illiteracy, despite her inability to read and write. And one of the things that I knew about this woman, my mother, was she'd catch you with a story. But more than that, what I used to see was the fact that she was so lacking in confidence in certain areas, and I thought, you know what, I feel like I owe it to her to show her what the gift of her illiteracy has been for me. So Storyhouse is for people who feel blocked, who feel stuck, who want to be visible, because you can tell stories in your business, you are your business, yeah, so you being here and taking off the mask and being real, being true to who you really are, and saying, this is me, I don't need to be perfect. There are organisations out there that say, don't wave your arms around, don't do this and don't do that. Well, I've tried those, and I couldn't even remember my name at that point because I was so busy remembering where I'm supposed to put my arms. So I lost the thread. So tonight I'm practicing, as are many people who will come up here, and that's what it's meant to be, a safe, intimate environment for people to come up here and just try their own style by telling their own authentic stories.